Human rescues two little alien girls. Next day, their mother arrives with a strange reward. The first scream didn't sound human. It was high, warbling, and sharp enough to slice through the evening air. Jonathan was returning from his shift at the ore refinery, trudging along the gravel road that led to his small cabin on the colony's outskirts, when the sound made him freeze. At first, he thought it was one of the wild, crested lizards that roamed the scrub hills beyond the settlement. But then came a second cry, shrill, desperate, and undeniably childlike. Jonathan dropped his lunch pail and sprinted toward the sound. The rescue. He found them at the bottom of a dry gulch. Two small alien girls, no older than 7 by his guess. They had slender limbs and mottled skin that shimmered faintly in the setting sun, as if light lived beneath it. Their large black eyes glistened with terror. One had her leg trapped beneath a fallen slab of stone. The other knelt beside her, sobbing in a language Jonathan didn't understand. Without thinking, he slid down the gravel slope. "Hold on," he shouted, though they likely couldn't grasp the words. He crouched beside the trapped one, who whimpered and clutched at his sleeve with startlingly delicate fingers. The stone wasn't large, but it had pinned her ankle at the worst angle. Jonathan braced himself, grunted, and heaved it aside. The girl screamed once, then gasped as her limb came free. He scooped her up gently. "It's okay. You're okay now." The other girl clung to his arm, trusting him despite the fact that he was human, a stranger, an outsider. Most colonists avoided the native species altogether, muttering about savages or untrustworthy aliens. Jonathan had always hated that talk. Now, with 2 terrified children pressing against him, he hated it even more. He carried them back to his cabin. A night of fear. Inside, Jonathan laid the injured girl on his cot and wrapped her swollen ankle with a strip of clean cloth. He offered them water and the softest rations he had, sweet root biscuits from the settlement market. They ate cautiously, their big eyes darting the door as if expecting hunters to burst through. When thunder rolled outside, the younger one whimpered and pressed herself against Jonathan's side. He let her. He stayed awake most of the night, listening to the storm and watching them sleep. He knew he should take them back to the colony authorities come morning, but something in him resisted. He remembered the way settlers talk about alien children, like pests to be returned to wild or quietly ignored. No, he wouldn't hand them over. He'd wait until their family came looking. If their family came looking, the mother arrives. The next day, as dawn painted the sky a pale orange, Jonathan heard footsteps outside, heavy ones. He grabbed his rifle, heart pounding, and eased open the cabin door. Standing there was a towering alien woman. Her skin shimmered like her daughter's, but more deeply, like molten metal beneath translucent stone. A crest of flexible spines arched from her skull, giving her an air both regal and fearsome. She carried a long staff carved with symbols that glowed faintly. Jonathan swallowed. The 2 girls, hearing her, darted to the doorway. "Ma!" They cried in their musical tongue. The woman's stern face softened as she dropped to her knees and embraced them. She murmured words Jonathan couldn't catch, then looked up at him. Her gaze pinned him in place. It wasn't hostile, more curious, assessing. She rose, towering over him, and extended a hand tipped with claws that could have gutted him if she chose. Jonathan hesitated, then placed his hand in hers. The air shimmered. A warmth spread up his arm, flooding into his chest. Images, not words, filled his mind. The girls trapped, their cries carried on the wind, her frantic search through the night. Then an image of him lifting the stone, holding them safe. She released him. His knees nearly buckled from the intensity of the connection. The strange reward. The alien mother spoke, her voice a layered resonance that vibrated more in his bones than his ears. He didn't understand the words, yet somehow he felt their meaning. You save what is mine. You're owed. Jonathan shook his head quickly. I don't need payment. I just couldn't leave them. Her spines quivered, a gesture he guessed meant amusement. She touched the staff to his chest. A pulse of energy surged through him, warm and unsettling. What did you do? He whispered. The woman tilted her head. The younger girl piped up in a soft, halting voice, speaking in broken human trade tongue. Mama give you bond. Jonathan blinked. Bond? The child pointed at his chest. Now, here, feel. He realized with a jolt that he could sense them. Not thoughts, no, not exactly, but emotions. The two little girls were like faint lanterns in his mind, glowing with safety, relief, and lingering fear. Their mother's presence felt stronger, vast, steady, like a mountain. Jonathan staggered back. You link me, do you? The mother inclined her head. The choice, the bond didn't fade. As the day wore on, Jonathan found himself knowing things without being told. The injured girl's pain, the older one's cautious hope, even the mother's wary gratitude. When the woman finally turned to leave, her daughters clinging to her sides, Jonathan felt a pang so sharp it nearly doubled him over. The bond pulled at him like a stretched cord. The mother noticed. She studied him for a long moment, then spoke again, this time slowly in rough trade tongue. Come with us. Bond not break. You are part now. Jonathan's breath caught. Leave the colony? Leave the life he'd built? He looked at the girls, two little alien children who now trusted him as if he were kin. He thought of the settler's cold indifference, of the lonely nights in his cabin, of the feeling that he'd never truly belonged here. And he thought of that warmth inside him, the strange tether that tied him to something greater than himself. He set down his rifle. All right, he said. His voice trembled, but his heart was steady. I'll come. Epilogue. Days later, Jonathan walked beneath towering crystal trees in the deep forest far from the colony. The alien children laughed as they darted ahead, their ankle now healed, their strange voices echoing like birdsong. Their mother walked beside him, silent but ever present, her gaze occasionally flicking toward him with something he dared to think was approval. Jonathan had rescued two little alien girls, and in return, he had been given something no human had ever been offered, a place in a family not his own, and a bond that would last a lifetime. For the first time since coming to this world, he no longer felt alone.